Alright guys, we are live, so let the stream populate a little bit and then we can get started. I am sorry I am late. I'm practically almost 1.5 hours late to my usual stream time. I was a little bit caught up with a little bit of recording, but right now I am here dedicated to you guys. I'm honestly a little bit probably really early for the US, so I don't expect any US folks to be on, but folks in Europe, those who are in Europe right now, I think it's kind of an okay time, probably working. You can sneak out to watch my stream. So today's episode, we're going to be talking a little bit about, guys, honestly, can I be very honest? I don't want to try to hype things up. I really find that the news in Bitcoin, cryptocurrency is actually very, very boring, guys. What I feel is that the whole market is trying to keep the enthusiasm a bit up, hoping that people will start getting interested in Bakkt, in regulations. This institution is stepping in. This Coinbase is doing this. Gemini is doing that. But to me, I'm like thinking the market is not moving. The market cap is still at 200 billion. You have occasional pumps across various types of altcoins. But all in all, it is really lackluster. So I'd rather do an episode where if I can, just try to talk to the community more. How have you all been, more than what's been happening out there? Because although I know that people like to come on and listen to my opinion, but I think I also like to hear from our subscribers, our viewers, how's everything been? Like instead of always, what do you think of this coin? What do you think of that coin? Honestly, can I be very honest? Most coins or most projects don't have anything. It's all still vaporware after 1 year, and that is the truth. A lot of people are gonna be losing money, and that's just the way it is. Especially if you're coming into a early stage investing kind of theme for the market, right? And with Bakkt coming in, you're just only allowed to trade futures contracts. I'm like, that's what you really can do on CME and CBOE. So yes, with the introduction of Bakkt, you're able to have physical delivery of Bitcoin. But then again, what's the big deal, right? It's just another exchange. Will it potentially bring in more money? We'll have to wait and see. I mean, to me, the whole market is dead, guys. I can clearly show you. I can clearly show you what's the charts at the moment, and you'll probably agree. Like, there's really nothing to shout about. So feel free, especially those who are watching right now, feel free to put up whatever questions that you might have. If you have certain concerns, I would rather address your concerns. Take it as if like I'm doing a live consultation for you, rather than talking about what's the latest happening in China or the latest cryptocurrency convention. Let me tell you the truth. All cryptocurrency conventions are the same, regardless of how large they are. It's all just projects putting out enough money so that they can be featured. But at the end of the day, when I say this, honestly, a lot of people are not investing in the space, and neither will they get any funding from the public. It's all going to be private. Will STO be the new thing or not? We have to wait and see. I don't want to create like hype when there's no hype at the moment. Everybody's kind of positioning themselves for an STO. And what is an STO, right? How much data will companies really put out there when they are planning to raise money via an STO? Or will there even be an STO market? Or will it just be ICO 2.0, where it's more stringent? Maybe there's going to be certain oversights in the country where you say, okay, if you want to do an ICO in our country, we need a list of things for you. We don't just want to see a white paper and a website. We want to make sure that you have an X amount of experience, you have built companies before, or your company is registered in that particular country. I sincerely hope that there will be more stringent checks on these companies. That's all I personally hope for, so that the market will be a little bit more protected. I'm not saying that there will not be any mistakes. There will still be plenty of scams, schemes, and frauds that will always be happening. But it's more of how can we as investors, or traders are still fine, but investors, sometimes we are trying to figure out what's good for the space. And when we think something is really awesome, but actually it's not, right? It was just great on paper, but in actual fact, it will never materialize because it's either too early for its time or it's actually relatively redundant because we already have so many great things that are currently available now. So yeah, let's go into the questions, guys. Hi Chamchon, hi Bavik, and hi Crypto Master. Right, so Royal Peck. Hi Ryan, do you have any good books to recommend for portfolio management? Technical, okay, so technical book, but not vague books teaching you about compounding and diversification. You know, if you talk about portfolio management, I highly recommend Value Investing by, okay, not specifically cryptocurrency, but by Benjamin Graham, right? He was basically the guy who taught Warren Buffett how to invest in cryptocurrencies, how to invest in stocks. And we have to kind of start from the basics. I know it's a very long, thick book, okay? But sometimes it's all about understanding the fundamentals first. And then once you understand the fundamentals, you will be able to compare what is lacking in this space right now. I think when I did the video on Huobi, right, there were folks that were saying, how can you clearly value Huobi the same way that you value a certain stock? I never said that you could value everything directly because there are so many things that are still in question, so many variables. We're talking about real details here that are not put out there for the public. I'm just saying that at least you have some numbers to work with. And who is validating whatever the numbers that are being put out there? Because that is on the company website. It doesn't say that it's a download. It's not like you can download it, download the financial report and it says audited by PwC. It didn't say that. It's just, you know, it's just basically whatever numbers that they're putting out there on their own company circular. So, but at least there's something to work on, guys. You know what I mean? It's not just about me claiming, like I can say, hey, my company made $1 billion, but I say, who's going to confirm that this actually happened, right? How is there any validation? Because if I don't put something from a credible, reliable third party, then, you know, where's the validation? So read that book. I think that is one of the books that I started out with, and I feel that it's really, really good. There are some Wiley books as well that are on portfolio management, but it's very dense because portfolio management is actually more not for the retail investor, but the topic on portfolio management is more for fund management, you know, if you are planning to start a fund. So apart from that, you might want to consider books like Private Equity. I think that's also a pretty good book. It's by, the publisher is Wiley. I think it's Wiley. So yeah, so it's called Private Equity because it kind of starts off on how VCs or angel investing comes about, and then after that, how to manage the money, you know, that kind of thing. So it's kind of good. It gives you that kind of insight on how VCs are running and how do they flip and how they exit. Okay, there's always, remember guys, when you are an investor, right, you must always think of an exit. I know traders will always have an exit because they practically put their exit or their take profit levels the moment they enter a trade. But for investors, right, the sad thing is that you don't want to exit an investment too early. You shouldn't, because if you are exiting an investment early, then you're already a trader. So you don't even fall into the category of an investor already, because investor means that you're going to allow the project to mature. And this is something that the term hodler came about. But in actual fact, you're an investor. Whether you're a savvy one or whether you're someone who is a noob, right? It all boils down to how much work did you do prior to you putting in your money. But of course, naturally, I think a lot of my viewers are pretty advanced already. But if you're new to the channel, you are more than welcome to ask questions. There's no dumb questions for the channel. You know, I'm always happy to take questions. And if you're relatively new, yeah, you can always ask. Okay, yeah, there you go. Okay, so I highly recommend the book. Okay, and I love your FA on. Yes, thank you very much, Royal. And yeah, okay, so another thing, okay, what does the market need for the reversal? Is this a long-term bear market scenario? Wow, Bavik, this is more of not this is not even analytic. Okay, maybe let's speak on a logical perspective on what could potentially be catalyst. Okay, I cannot give you a when. You know, if I could give you a when, that means I don't even need to start a YouTube channel. I will more or less, well, I would, right? Because since I have that kind of seer-like insight, then I would probably still do it. But hey, I don't have a timeline for you. But I would say that it's starting to happen. Okay, let me explain. Probably you weren't watching quite a number of my streams, but when you see all the large institutions, when I say institutions, means that NYSE, okay, they are starting up Bakkt, right? And Bakkt is one of those really large exchanges that are going to start cryptocurrency trading. But bear in mind, they have already branded themselves as a digital asset exchange. To what extent? Honestly, when I looked at the website, it's still describing whether or not they are going to have a full suite of cryptocurrencies or just a few. I assume it will only be the top few, because you're not going to start a cryptocurrency exchange and then after that you have lack of liquidity and volume. It cannot happen. But at least you know that these big boys, firstly, they have a long history of knowing how to run an exchange. Okay, I'm not saying that our existing Huobi, Binance don't. They have a long history as well. If you go and watch multiple videos and interviews about CZ, apparently he has 10 years worth of experience in creating exchanges. Huobi, the team, Leon, who is the founder, and of course, I think there are other founders as well. Robin, I don't think is the founder, but Robin is also one of the key members of Huobi. They have experience of 5 years of digital asset management. So in this arena, they are the leaders. Okay, when you talk about the old school guys, they are coming in. You notice that they are only focused on custodial services, maybe a little bit of Bitcoin ETF and futures contracts at the moment. You don't see much funky products at the as of now. They don't know how to underwrite or insure themselves and their high net worth investors, because they do not know how to even leverage on they do not know how to manage the risk. Because when you start something, you need to know how to manage the risk, and it's not just about collectively collecting money, but you also need to say, hey, okay, if this person is coming onto my exchange, he's doing a trade, right? And if that trade is completely hedged, okay, I'm fine to do that, because I'm only just an intermediary to help him perform the transaction. That means I don't have any risk to myself. But if they are providing some form of lending, which is your margin accounts, which I think you all are pretty familiar, where you are able to, of course, go 5x, 10x, as we all know, Bitmex does that. And if you are able to manage that risk, okay, an exchange is fine. But what if people are collectively withdrawing and they fail to have enough capital reserves to meet the requirement? That is when all the dirty linen starts to pop up. Now, obviously, that has not happened yet. Okay, that has not happened yet. They seem to be very well capitalized. So these exchanges will have to come in mind and make sure that they protect themselves holistically first. Themselves, not you. Protect themselves first from a regulatory standpoint, because they don't want to have SEC or any kind of regulatory body come breathing up their ass when they start opening up for business, right? And then they have to also have a set of guidelines for the traders, OTC, institutional traders, retail traders, and of course, for them, they have to be a secure exchange, right? Because nobody wants to hear crap like, hey, the next day, X amount of Bitcoins go missing from our custodial wallet. They'll be like, fuck you, man. Because at the end of the day, I thought you are Bakkt, you are Amari Trade, TD, you're someone recognized for running an exchange. How can this happen? You know? So none of that should happen. So all these things have to happen first. Like, okay, if I'm an exchange, okay, I'm an exchange, I want to make sure that I have a counterparty that's going to bear risk. Okay, that means I want to buy insurance just in the event that I get hacked. You're gonna take the hit for me. So I'm buying an insurance policy to protect my existing assets. Then I also have to go and raise funds to provide the liquidity, because if you are someone who's providing the liquidity for my exchange, I will give you a cut for every single transaction. Of course, obviously, it's either a quarterly thing, yearly thing, or whatever, right? So this is how business is going to start as an exchange. Every exchange starts this way. Then, of course, let's not talk about scamming exchanges. Let's just talk about the solid ones. This is how the business is going to be run. So this is one catalyst. Then you have to have these exchanges be willing to fork out the media dollars and to move the market in such a way that it starts to attract. Because guys, honestly, there's quite a bit of good news happening. There's so much good news that we become immune to what's been happening, right? We are hearing like this is happening, that's happening, but hey, why is Bitcoin still at 6,400? You know, and of course you see certain altcoins moving very drastically, but end of the day, guys, it's nowhere near how much we have lost overall. You know, you would have to have been very hardworking and so spot on that you would have moved from one cryptocurrency to another and not get it wrong. I mean, you can get it wrong along the way, but you have to be like 70 to 80% correct, which is very ridiculous, because to be 70% to 80% correct, you are a god already. And I think it's very rare that these things happen. Okay, I prefer to just stay invested. I just make a pick. I just make sure that I stay very connected in terms of communication, and at the same time in terms of what I understand from the market. That's why understanding it from a broad-based perspective and then narrowing down to from a sector or industry whether or not there's growth and revenue. That's why I did the video on HT, because they have cash flow. Well, cash flow is questionable, but they must have revenue, and they have a growing customer base. They are showing that they are providing services to various countries, and they're willing to play ball with regulators. See, in that short sentence alone, it's already credibility already. I'm not shilling them, but they're just showing that they're doing that. Now, for Quantum, what has Quantum been doing? Quantum has been actually putting up a lot of educational workshops. If you notice, I think the latest is a collaboration with Columbia University. You see, they're doing the groundwork, but they are not revenue generating like Huobi. That's for sure. Okay, they did have the latest Amazon Web Services partnership, but does that translate to dollars? There's no numbers. There's no figures. So yes, it did move, right? Quantum did start to move a little bit. I think 12-15% from where it was, but still nowhere near the highs that we purchased. So, you know, like I said, these are the things that we have to take note of. Okay, so wow, there are a lot of questions. So guys, feel free to ask questions and I'll try to get down to them. Many countries going, okay, is this a question? No, it's not. Okay, many countries, okay, so Harvinder Singh, many countries going to start their own centralized currencies, how it will affect on Bitcoin and who will win in future, government centralized currency versus Bitcoin. Wow. Okay, this is a very, very strong question. Firstly, I think it's good that a country is planning to digitize, because it's good for the citizens. Why? You must make sure that you have the infrastructure to cater to the digital payment, because China is already doing that. So it's nothing wrong. In fact, if it provides a certain level of transparency, because if they're going to digitize the money, right, then obviously there will not be much replications. If they're going to have it centralized and they can print whenever they want, right, then it's not so good, because you know Bitcoin is scarce, right? Bitcoin is scarce. There's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoins. For a country, I don't really see for the fact that they're going to have an X amount in the market. Maybe they're going to be, I doubt that that's going to happen. But digitizing a country's currency is kind of a good thing, because it helps you bring the citizens to the next leg, where you don't have coins all around, cash. It's like, to me, I find it's a little bit safer, okay, in a certain sense. I'm not saying that people cannot try to mug you for your private keys or whatever, but still at the end of the day, it does help in terms of ease of transfer. Then obviously they are also going to still track, because the whole idea is to have surveillance on the money movement. So nothing has changed. Will this affect Bitcoin trading? Now, I think you're putting two things together. It all boils down whether your country allows Bitcoin trading. Whether your country decides to digitize its currency is irrelevant from where the money flow is going to come from. Because if you think about it, if it's going to be digitized, all right, as in, like, say for example, in your case, it's the rupees, right? The rupees are going to turn into a digitized form, okay? Will that builds further confidence? Nothing. It doesn't change anything. Okay, it doesn't change anything, because the country will still have to rely on the credibility and strength of the government, right, and its central banking system in order for it to trust its currency, right? So digitizing it is kind of like I guess it's just maybe going with the flow or whatever, but I don't really feel that it's going to change the fact of how Bitcoin is going to perform in the markets, because if people will still want to trade Bitcoin or trade cryptocurrencies, they can. Nothing's going to stop that, you know. And I think it's just how the systems are going to be interconnected. What do you say for ETFs? Is SEC going to accept this time since last two denied? I still say that ETFs are still a long way more from being approved, because if ETFs are going to be open to, okay, if you're opening an look, man, you can start an ETF privately. Let's just be very honest, okay? Because what's his name? Barry Silbert from Digital Currency Group already has an ETF. They already have an ETF for high net worth. Now, I think the ETF that is consistently being denied, right, is for retail market. Let me ask you a question sincerely. How many of us actually know how to invest in cryptocurrencies? Like, are the banks offering it? No, right? The banks are not offering cryptocurrency as a product suite. Not gonna happen, okay? The volatility is just too high. And where are the exchanges? Because you must understand that the banks want to coordinate with a market maker that they can trust, or a brokerage that they can trust. You see, Binance at the moment doesn't have that relationship yet. I see for the fact that maybe Binance may have that relationship, because right now Vertex Ventures, which is also owned by Temasek, right, is investing in Binance Singapore. In Binance, right? So as an exchange, maybe in the long run, they have certain levels of credibility that will bring them to the next level. But I don't see that happening for the next few years, because I think Bitcoin ETF or any kind of cryptocurrency ETF is too high risk for the masses and for the retail market. Just put it this way. Right now, let's say there was a Bitcoin ETF approved. Suddenly, your grandparents are putting their retirement funds or a portion of that into a Bitcoin ETF. Bitcoin drops to $3,000. All the hard work, 60 years of hard work, putting into a Bitcoin ETF. Obviously, look, let's not talk about how much they're going to put in and everything, okay? Let's just say that they put in a portion of their retirement funds. 50% of that value, if they had gone in at 20,000 or 17,000, because the ETF has to be priced accordingly, right? And they know none the wiser. They put it in and they lost 50%. For an individual who has never invested before, that is very, very detrimental, because imagine all your time saving up for it, and suddenly 50% goes missing, and they don't even know why. So the education part is very, very important, and that takes time. Education is the most painful. Everybody loves to get started and everything, but they don't even want to learn, right? So this is one problem. Okay, alright, so AMT. Also, what's your view on funds for funds being launched for investment to enter into BTC indirectly without asset management companies investing directly? Also, what's your view on funds on funds? Okay, funds on funds, I guess, okay. I guess it's also another way of kind of leveraging on the credibility of another investment holding company, because that way you're also lowering your risk, right? Because you know that this fund is doing really well, and you want to kind of invest in that person's investing skills, or that company's an analyst or whatever. Nothing wrong, right? Because you're just leveraging. I don't really feel that this is much of a challenge in terms of question. It's just like, okay, copy trading on eToro. Okay, apparently eToro has this copy trader. And I think being that if it's done in this manner, right, especially if you do a fund of funds, what happens is that you have multiple funds kind of investing in your fund. You can kind of bring down you as the the fund management that is offering the fund of funds, right? Hopefully you bring down your annual management fee, because you're doing lesser work, because you're allowing the main company to do more work. But at the same time, obviously the main company will be able to build credibility, because right now, if they are fund of funds, that's also goes to show that they are someone who is credible enough that other funds are kind of leveraging on them. But to me, I think if you're going to be starting a crypto fund, why aren't you starting from scratch? The space is just so new, right? And you shouldn't be starting a fund of funds because I find that you are just leveraging on your current credibility. Obviously, you have a pool of investors, but you don't know crap. That's what it means to me. You don't know jack shit, and you just want to leverage on a company that does. It's questionable, because I think maybe sometimes the fund itself, the main fund, doesn't want to go out and keep hunting for funds. So they kind of connect with their kind of fund management buddies and say, hey guys, I'm a solid institutional trader. I'm a solid crypto trader. We have the bots and everything like that. You guys have the clients. You guys don't know anything, don't know much about crypto. Just leverage on us. Since you trust us, they'll be like, oh, okay, sounds like a deal. Well, that's basically how it works, you know, in its very simple explanation. What are your thoughts on the whole interoperability scene? Let me ask you a question. If the main platform isn't working and having much adoption, right? I think the interoperability part, we can put it one side first, you know, because the main platform is already struggling to gain adoption. So interoperability, for example, I know what you mean, like just linking one network to another. Let's work out the kinks. Let's work out the kinks in the armor for the current projects first. And once their platforms are solid and have garnered enough developer interest and enough community, enough developments, then from then we come and talk about interoperability, because that is really also another thing that is a bit too far off. So you see, guys, we are all learning. In the past, right, the interoperability layers were like, wow, connecting everybody together. You had your ARC, which is going to create the bridge. Then after that, you had AEON, which was also going to provide some scalability. I don't know how are they faring at the moment. From the price-wise, I know AEON isn't doing much. ARC is kind of quiet. I don't hear, because Brian, our community manager, used to be investing in ARC. But I know that the values have dropped tremendously. And look, to be fair, everything has been dropping tremendously. You know, it's not like something that happened overnight. And I'm only going to be very certain about what the market wants when the money comes in. You see, because I can give my opinion and kind of speculate on what would potentially move, but I'd rather fixate myself on what could potentially IPO or what could be a solid STO. I want to only focus on that. I had enough of investing in paper. You know, I understand that right now the market still does that. I'm saying that there's still a lot of conceptual plays and speculative plays, because the market just loves to gamble. I don't like to gamble. I like to build my wealth over time. I'm not worried. I'm not someone who wants to suddenly have my funds 90% disappear. I'm someone who likes to build various types of assets. I don't just build crypto, that's for sure. And that's how it should be, you know. But that's me. I'm not a trader full time. Andy would trade, or maybe you would prefer trading, but I prefer investing. That's just me. All right, so yeah guys, so all your questions are really solid, you know, really solid. Very you're looking at how the market is moving, you're looking at the broader picture at the moment. You're asking questions like, oh, you know, if a fund of funds comes in. I really appreciate that. it makes me more encouraged to do more live streams. And I sincerely hope that if you guys want to see more live streams and you feel that this kind of Q&A stuff is what you like, give this video a thumbs up, and at the same time also don't forget to share and subscribe to the channel, and we can continue to keep doing this. And as we learn, right, as we grow with the space, right, the community just gets smarter. And when the community just gets smarter, right, you'll be able to decipher and smell the bullshit that's out there, but at the same time you'll be able to kind of pick out the gems that are still located, that are still out there for sure. I don't doubt that there are solid companies that are going to be emerging in the next 5 years, but the thing is, for every one gem that emerges, there's going to be 9 companies that are going to be all bullshit and crap. I guarantee you. And by then, I sincerely hope that those who have followed our channel from the very beginning will know how to differentiate. Because if you're going to be putting in a little bit of money and speculating, that's okay. But I know that at some point, right, you want to go in big and really confidently, like how we did for NPXS. We went in big and confidently and we won big time. But the thing is, how many NPX or Pundi X projects are going to be like that? How many are there going to be like that, where you can confidently put money in there and that they are continuously innovating? They have only just shown me that when you put your money with a great company, right, you only grow your wealth. This is real investing, and that is the kind of thing that I really appreciate. They're not afraid to be connected with the community. They're not afraid to get it wrong. They are not only daring, but they're building the business in the right way. I mean, if you want to say that I'm shilling them or whatever, go ahead. But I'm proud to shill them, because at the end of the day, if you wanna start looking for projects like that, and if there's an equivalent in your country, feel free to put it out there and let's compare notes. Let's just see whether they have products, they have customer base, they have revenue, and all these things must come together, guys. Don't look at the price going up and down, because the price is always temporary. At the end of the day, fundamentals will always catch up with price action. All right. So with that being said, guys, I'll see you in the next live stream, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.